When the arguments first began, Daniel thought they were about dishes or money, or the way he forgot to text when he'd be late. He treated them like puzzles to be solved with the right words. If he could just explain himself clearly enough, calmly enough, he believed the tension would dissolve. It never did. Every conversation became a trial. Evidence presented, old mistakes resurrected. His apologies were weighed and found wanting. Daniel learnt the shape of exhaustion, shoulders hunched forward, jaw tight, eyes always searching for the next accusation. One night, after an argument that ended not with resolution but with silence, Daniel sat alone in the living room long after his wife Mara went to bed. The house felt like a courtroom after hours still, echoing, judgment lingering in the air. Something in him finally stopped. Not broke, not exploded. Stopped. The next morning, when Mara criticized the way he made coffee too weak, like always, Daniel didn't defend himself. He didn't explain. He didn't sigh. He simply said, "Okay," and remade it the way she liked. Mara noticed immediately. She watched him from the corner of her eye, waiting for the follow-up. The passive-aggressive remark, the simmering resentment. It never came. Daniel drank his coffee in silence, read the news, and left for work. That day, instead of replaying the argument in his head, he went to the gym, first. It was just somewhere to put the energy he'd no longer spent arguing. The clank of weights replaced raised voices. Sweat replaced frustration. His body began to change subtly at first, then undeniably. His back straightened. His sleep deepened. His eyes grew clearer. He also stopped explaining himself at home. If Mara complained that he worked too much, he listened and nodded. She accused him of not caring. He said, "I hear you," and went back to what he was doing. Not dismissive, not cold, just unmoved. This unsettled her. The arguments had always followed a familiar rhythm. She pushed, he resisted. She pushed harder, he folded. Now there was no resistance, no folding. Just a quiet, steady presence that didn't bend around her emotions. Daniel started waking up early. He read books about discipline, about boundaries, about building a life rather than defending one. He stopped asking for permission to take time for himself. He joined a weekend hiking group. He learned how to cook meals he enjoyed, not just meals designed to avoid criticism. He didn't announce any of this. He simply lived. Mara tried to provoke him one evening, criticizing his absence, his new routine, the way he seemed distant. "You don't talk to me anymore," she said, sharp and wounded. Daniel looked at her, really looked at her, and spoke calmly. "I'm happy to talk when it's a conversation, not a fight." That was all. No justification. No apology. No chase slot. The power in the room shifted, subtle as a change in weather. Mara felt it before she understood it, for years. The gravity of the relationship had pulled toward her emotions, her anger, her disappointment, her needs. Daniel had orbited them, constantly adjusting his trajectory to avoid collision. Now he had his own center. She noticed how other people responded to him, how friends lingered when he spoke, how waiters smiled, how he moved through space with an ease that hadn't been there before. She noticed that when she withdrew affection, he didn't scramble to regain it. When she offered it, he accepted it warmly, without relief or desperation. One night, Mara asked him, quietly, "Are you angry with me?" Daniel considered the question. "No," he said. "I just stopped fighting myself." Something in her softened then. Or perhaps something cracked. The arguments didn't vanish overnight. But they changed. There were pauses now. Moments where Mara chose her words more carefully. moments where Daniel spoke and was heard. And for the first time in years, the relationship felt less like a struggle for control and more like a meeting of two adults standing on their own ground. Daniel hadn't won by arguing better. He'd won by becoming someone who no longer needed to.